Good afternoon, friends. We are moving towards the seventh day of Career Pathshala, and to make this a relevant one, we thought of coming up with a topic which is very relevant for all the generation. Talking to our speaker, he thought of coming up with a topic of learning to stay relevant. This is something which is not only being required by the youngsters, but people like me. So we have with us Mr. Chetan Sir, who is Senior Director Banking and Financial Services at Cognizant. So on speaking to Chetan, uh, we welcome you, sir, at Career Pathshala on behalf of thousands of students who are watching this show live and from 50 cities of the country. And when I was talking to Mr. Chetan about the Career Pathshala and the type of experience he carries in banking and financial services, which is one of the major vertical and major asset for any IT company to bring business in. So he thought of having all the technical knowledge. He thought of let me go and talk the basics of learning. So this is a very important and a very generic session where we'll be talking about the attitude and our aspirations to learn. And it was so nice to talk to Chetan and bring this topic. We welcome you, sir, at Career Pathshala. And we also have with us our final year students Shubhi and Shreya, and pre-final year student Shikha joining in. We are getting a very good enthusiasm and response from students to be a panel in this show, and we request you to keep writing to us for these nominations. So before we start, we would like Shubhi and Shreya and Shekha to welcome Chetan sir, and then we go to Chetan sir for his talk.
Yes. Good afternoon to the viewers. My name is Shubhi Baronia from Yuva Bhopal. I would like to welcome Mr. Chetan Bhatkar sir, Senior Director Banking and Financial Service at Cognizant. Career Pathshala is a great initiative for college student who sometimes get stuck and cannot find the right path towards his or her career. We are fortunate enough to have you, sir, as it will help the students to interact with such prominent personality. Thank you, sir, for taking out your valuable time for students to give an important lesson on learning to stay relevant. We are highly excited to hear you, sir.
Great. I'm excited too.
Yes, Shreya.
A very good afternoon to the dignitaries and the viewers watching us today. I am Shriya Bansal from Yuba Bhopal. I am a final year student and I am of EC branch. I wholeheartedly welcome you, sir, to Career Pathshala. Today's topic is going to help our viewers a lot because we know students have a great difficulty in finding what's best for them. And also, most of them never pursue what they truly want to. In this pandemic, we all have so much free time that we try our best to stay focused on one thing but fail to do so because of lack in motivation. So I hope after watching this, the viewers get motivated and find the right career path. And for that, sir, I'm extremely grateful and obliged to have you with us today. Thank you for taking out time to do this.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Shikha, of second year student, now promoted to third year.
Namaskar and good afternoon, everyone. This is Shikha Mishra from third year. We are extremely obliged to have you here, sir. I'm really excited about the experience and amazing knowledge that we are going to have today. Learning to stay relevant is the most important point in every field. And I feel so proud to join in today's session with a great personality and an amazing visionary. Welcoming Mr. Chetan Bhatkar, sir. Sir, it's so good to have you here. Thank you so much for joining in.
Thank you, Shikha. So, a lot of students coming up with a lot of expectation, Chetan sir. So, we would like to start the session and to start with the students dominating the screen. Would like to know about your early days of life, of schooling, college life, and how was your journey to from school, college to now senior director in Cognizant. So just a flashback or your storytelling about how How was your journey, sir?
Absolutely. So thank you, Anuj sir, and thank you for the warm welcome to all of you people. Takes me back in time, actually, right? Speaking to young students like you. So thanks very much. But before I start, I want to make sure all of you guys are safe and sound. We're going through a very, very unprecedented kind of a situation in the world. So I can see many people, almost all of them are trying to work from the comforts of home. I know it's been tough, but hope we navigate this thing together. On that note, I'll start a little bit about myself. Firstly, it's a great opportunity for me. So as much as you guys have praised me and think it's a great opportunity, I say it from the bottom of my heart that it is as important for me as it is for you. And again, there's a little bit of a story because I have for a long time wanted to do this of trying to interact with college students. I've always said, hey, this is what I want to eventually do, interact with schools where I came from and other people. And never have I done it. I've found some excuse or the other. So it's quite funny that COVID has forced me to kind of start looking at the whole thing, the time at hand. So somebody was saying initially, hey, what do we do with all the time at hand? Here is something that I'm trying to do with the time that I have by interacting with you, learning from you, right? So a little bit about myself. I grew up in Goa, and after my schooling in Goa until the class of 12, I went to study engineering from Regional Institute of Technology, Jamshedpur. It was called RIT Jamshedpur. Now I think it's called NIT Jamshedpur. I studied mechanical engineering there, and I got placed as part of the final year campus interviews into TCS. So my career of 23 years, it's quite shocking that I've been working 23 years. I feel kind of old, but I spent about nine and a half, 10 years in Tata Consultancy Services, again, across various parts in the world, banking, financial services largely. And then in 2007, I started with Cognizant, right? Again, 13th year going. Uh, I I run delivery for a couple of our large financial services clients, which my teams are there spread out globally in the world. And yeah, so I'm still going along. It's for 23 years, trying to, as I said, staying relevant in the new times. But I think maybe to take a little bit of a step back to give you guys a perspective, right? I mean, I can see myself in the position that you guys are now today, several years ago now. But I can understand some of the feelings that you guys are going through as you're approaching a corporate life, and some of the things I can see from my vantage point of how things are. However, it's a completely different world since the time I started and you started, right? A few things that I can tell you about what this industry has meant for me, what it has done for me, right? And again, each one is different. I want to kind of give you a sense that this industry or this job has given me a lot of exposure. I mean, some of the things that I grew up growing in school, for example, again, maybe off topic, but I was very fond of the geography subject, right? I was really fond of seeing the various landmarks in various parts of the world, rivers, mountains, natural places, buildings, whatever. If this job has done one thing for me, and again, there are multiple things it has done, right? It has been able to live out some of those dreams, right? So I have had a great fascination. I have a privilege of traveling around the world. I've lived and worked in various parts of the world through these 23 years, and I've got an opportunity to go and experience some of those things. So when I saw a river Danube on somewhere, or river Rhine on my geography book, and actually going and standing in front of it has been great, right? I've been able to visit various parts of the world and interact with various kinds of cultures of people. Really awesome. So I think people like you, if there are any geography lovers, another reason I've given you to start, thinking about IT and IT careers, because it's a truly global perspective that you get, and it's a global exposure and experience that you genuinely get, right? So that is, part of my journey. As I said, manage banking and financial services clients, and I'm based in Pune in India, and that's what I do. I think maybe we could start, sir, on maybe with a brief background of why I started with the topic. So if there is a way we can flash the deck, just the first page, that will be good, right? I will share it on my screen, and hopefully it's visible to others as well. Is this visible to everyone?
Yes, sir, it is visible, sir.
Yes, sir.
So a little bit about learning to stay relevant. I think we spoke about it very briefly when we started introductions, but I joined this industry 23 years ago. I still feel this topic is really relevant to me as well, because the world has fundamentally changed, right, guys? I mean, this through your learning and whatever you guys are staying about. But I can tell you for a fact that when I started the industry and what the world is now, is very, very different. Yeah. So I think in a way it's a level playing field for us. And one thing that I would want to highlight is, while you guys are looking forward to come into a corporate life and start working with firms like Cognizant, maybe others, I think the key word right now is to get down to basics, figure out what you're good at, and find ways to learn. Right? Be very, very comfortable in your own skin, and learn to say what you know and what you don't know. So I think what I'm going to speak today, again, I represent Cognizant, but the views that I'm talking about today are purely personal. And again, the request I have for all of each one of us is different, right? So the request I have of you is to take what I'm saying is as a perspective as opposed to a prescription. I don't think there is one size fits all kind of a remedy for anyone. So everyone, please, who's listening, I'm hoping you can benefit from some of my experiences, my impressions, and we'll take it from there. If there are questions, I'm happy to take it later as well, right? So moving on, I said one of the important things, I thought ki dopair ka 2 baje ka time hai. One of the things I want to try and do is not make you fall asleep. I hope every once in a while I'll keep checking the videos. If there's somebody who's dozing off, I will try and see if I can not make it boring. But I thought I'll start at the beginning, right? And quite honestly, I have taken this seriously. Beginning means I have gone almost 200,000 years ago, as you can see on this page, right? But what I wanted to kind of tell you guys is a few important things. Now, I will talk you through this journey. Bear with me as I do this. But it's important. I think there are some key messages that I want you to kind of take away from this, right? Is number one, firstly, with due credit where it's due, whatever I've been depicting here, I've been really inspired by a book written by Dr. Yuval Noah Harari. The book is called Sapiens, and it broadly depicts this entire thing over maybe about 500, 600 pages. So if you guys have some time and are interested in reading books, I would refer that quite honestly. Very, very fascinating book. It has helped me, with various perspectives, not only about evolution and whatever. So what I've put here is, a brief snapshot of that, right? I'm not going to go back into, when man evolved, etc. You guys know it, but just so that it's about 200,000 years ago. I'm not talking of time before that. But ever since then, right, I think it's been a journey of learning for every human being that has walked this planet, 100%, right? No doubt about it. 70,000 years ago, long time ago, right? About 68,000 years ago from now, right? We started breaking away from the pack. We learned that, even though we are small creatures, we are significantly differently abled compared to the other animals because of the cognitive power that we have, the brain that we possess, right? We learned to survive despite being the smallest animal around, or smallest thing around, right? They were big, ferocious animals all around us. We learned to survive because of our ability to learn and our cognitive abilities, right? The next stage, again, you look at the phase, 70,000 years to 12,000 years, good 50 odd thousand years. People were hunter gatherers. They were, from whatever history tells us. I think 12,000 years ago was again a game changing moment where, human beings learned how to, cultivate land, domesticate animals. And I feel that personally, that has been the single biggest, how do I say, evolutionary, how do I say, game changer for us, right? Because not only did we realize that we don't have to move from place to place to gather our food, etc. We could stay in one place. We could domesticate our animals. Because we started, cultivating, we figured out that, hey, why not trade, right? And trade led to other things. They're related to boundaries, countries, religions, what have you, right? So it has been an important learning part. And I think since the agricultural revolution, the world as we know it, or the civilization as we know it, really started taking shape, right? Again, long pause. Again, the reason I'll come to it, why I've picked this time lapse frames also, right? From about 12,000 years to about 500 years ago, I think that's when the real scientific revolution kicked in, right? So the whole world was living under the laws of the earlier. Science was never to be seen, right? It was the religious clergy, it was various other parts of people. Religion was very, very dominant. Lands, territories, war, bloodshed, bunch of things. But ever since about 500 years ago, when the scientific revolution really kicked in, you will see that our civilization has really, gone to, exponential growth in terms of discovery, in terms of not depending on religion and clergy so much. Science speaks louder than anyone else. And that has really fast-tracked our evolution, the development of this planet, right? The next big phase, according to me, has been what we call the industrial revolution, right? Maybe about 200 years ago, really started when industries, factories started, being made. It helped in all facets of life, making our life more comfortable, making our life more, how do I say, convenient. And industrialization essentially meant, and this is where I think it starts converging with our lives, and I will come to it when we talk about technology, right? There was a stage where we learned of making everything in mass, right? Okay, you want to produce cars, we can produce in car. We created the supply chain management, right? Assembly lines were created where, we could develop hundreds of millions of the same thing over and over again. It became very process driven, very mechanized, right? It helped us. It helped us scale. It helped us catch up centuries worth of progress we had made. Uh, and it helped genuinely make a paradigm shift, as I say, right? So the industrial revolution, again, very, very critical. Now you see, I've now completely come back to about 20 years ago, right? We are now calling it, and you guys have heard it, a digital revolution, right? What does this mean, right? So in many ways, what this has meant is the technology development, etc., has got such a pace now, right? That the whole world is moving into a new, we almost are calling it a revolution as big as those 5 or 6 that I spoke about, right? And we are 20 years into it, right? So in many ways, while you guys are starting now, I have started 20 years ago, we are actually in the same boat, right? So I think it's important of figuring out, like our previous generations hundreds of years ago, what is it that we will learn and how we will be relevant. I think that's very, very important. So I think the thing that I wanted to put on this page is, guys and girls, no matter where we are starting in life, we are, I think, in the same boat as we speak today. The world is seeing an unprecedented amount of change, and this is even before COVID, right? This presentation or this talk track would have remained the same even if COVID had not happened. COVID, if anything, will accelerate a lot of what we should be doing, and will really give a how do I say, shot in the arm for the digital adoption and generation. Yeah. Moving on, you guys, I know most of you guys, if not all, are probably more digitally savvy than me, right? I don't even have a Facebook account. I used to, I stopped it, right? I rarely go on to Twitter. I don't have Instagram, right? So from a technology availability, digitization, I'm sure you guys know a lot about technology and what it offers. What I, however, thought is kind of demystify from my perspective. And for folks who know this, apologies, it might be like a revision. But folks who do not, I think it's a very important distinction you guys will need to make as you look at the world around us, as you look at choices, as you look at perspectives, as you look at skills. There are various dimensions through which you can look at it. Yeah. So let me just go and spend a little bit of time on the definitions itself, right? Digitization, right? To me and to anyone, this is a generic definition, right? It is, you're digitizing something, which means you're doing the same thing that's already been done, the same business model. However, you're using technology to make it efficient. Right? Example, trainings. You can pick any walk of life, right? I just picked trainings, I picked banking. It used to be historically instructor-led, classroom, bench, blackboard, chalk, jo chahiye, right? We went through this entire phase of digitization, which essentially meant you change the same mode of instruction into a digital format. You use technologies. So, instructor-led training became e-learnings. There were podcasts. There are online books that we've made. Okay. So now that, in a way, is digitization, right? What is now, you guys are seeing it. There are so many things around you. There are, virtual personalized learning experiences, the Byju's of the world. There are so many other things. It's largely gamified. So the digital transformation of this, right, is actually using technology to transform the business models, offer newer capabilities. So always make this distinction, folks, when you are looking at digitization versus digital transformation, because this world is full of jargon, right? And you guys will sometimes get confused, intertwine this, etc. It's very important. What I want to really highlight is the point I'm staying at the bottom, right? So if you look at the digitization area, right, when people like me started, this was largely the focus, right? We were heard terms like, we have to computerize a branch, we have to computerize something. A lot of physical data had to be transported and made into, computerized data, right, or digital data. So it got a lot of us jobs. It got of us a lot of job security. It is, in a way, industrialization of technology that started when people like me joined, right? So a lot of scale was required. We rode the tide. A lot of generic skills were required. We rode the tide. However, the time that you are entering now is on the right side, right? The digital transformation. It's more about ideas. Technology can solve a lot of the things that it did not solve 20 years ago. Yeah. However, right now is the time for your ideas, right? There is I personally believe the possibilities are endless, right, on what you can do in terms of what you can imagine. And hence, for you guys who are entering this system now, it's very, very important to look at the experiences from a digital transformation angle, or from a angle of how things can make better. So it's more about the ideas and the problems you're trying to solve, as opposed to using technology to do something better. Those days are, I think, mostly in the past, right? And even these developing countries, back in the day, there used to be very poor countries like in Africa, Zimbabwe, Tanzania, and all of that. Those countries had to go through the evolution cycle. They had to go into digitization and then move into maybe digital transformation. Countries like those now can jump directly into this phase, right? They don't have to go through the digitization phase. We call this, in our language, we say they don't have any technical debt, quite honestly. So they are born digital countries that way, right? So they can go into a lot of these technology solutions directly and completely miss out this middle part, right? So it's very important, folks, according to me, right? I will also take a minute and talk about the evolution of demand as we see it, right? Many of you guys would have seen various, through your own learning videos, what have you, right? You would have learned, you would have had some kind of a mental image of what this job looks like, yeah? So through this, I want to try and give you a sense of three forms of demand as I see it, right? One, I'm calling it as ancient demand. Okay, I'm consciously using the word ancient, knowing fully well that I probably am also part of that category now, right? But it was the time I joined. It was like the industrialization of technology, right? 200 years ago, we needed to industrialize life. We needed to industrialize manufacturing. When I joined the industry, we had to industrialize technology. So there was a lot of one of us people who said, "Hey, हमको 100 जावा के लोग चाहिए, 10 .NET, 20 मेन फ्रेम, 2 पैर हैं, 2 आंखें हैं, हाथ है, इंग्लिश बोलता है, चलो आ जाओ," right? That was the time, quite honestly. I mean, I'm maybe oversimplifying it, but there was a time where there was requirement of scale. There was a requirement of a lot of people wanting to do the same thing over and over again, right? You guys probably were just about born or hanging around there, or were an idea at that point in time, right? When the Y2K challenge happened. I don't know how many of you guys are familiar, but Y2K mein, because of the system date, right? A lot of people that time, 99, 98, got free rides to the US. They went there sitting entry, data entry for years together. On site mein log baithe hain, paisa kama rahe hain. All they are doing is changing digits, right? Those days are gone, right? As the current world is changing, all of the work has been done. जो मेहनत हमने तब की थी वो हो चुकी है काम, right? So now it's more important to focus on what is the current demand looking like, and more importantly, what the future looks. And I know the slide is a little crowded. I will talk you through some of the jobs. It'll be quite interesting to see your reactions also, right? But as of right now, full stack engineers, right? Because of the late 90s, early 2000s, there was a need for, hey, 100 Java chahiye, 500 Oracle, 300 Sybase, just stating the fact. Everyone became specialists. I'm a Java specialist. I'm an Oracle specialist. I'm a data, I'm a whatever, ESB specialist. I'm a COBOL specialist. Now the demand is going back to where it originally started. They're saying, hey, no, we don't want this multiple specialization. We don't want to reach out to different people. We want full stack engineers, people who can do all, right? People who can understand programming languages, who can understand databases and everything in between, right? So there is a lot of demand for full stack data engineers, right? You might have heard a lot of word and a lot of jargon around AI, machine learning, automation, while it is all there, right? While it is all 100% there, you guys don't have to get intimidated by all of the jargon, right? Essentially, what we are looking for are people who can understand data, right? We are consuming and producing so much data every day. It's not even funny, right? So people who can understand data and how it becomes from data into information into wisdom is very important. So the people with that curiosity are now all bucketed under data scientists. Everything is moving on a cloud. Essentially, it means the world is becoming more and more virtual than it was, right? Cloud technologies are nothing but things like your electricity meter at home, right? It becomes certain things like infrastructure has become commodity. That means you can use it as per like a meter. It's literally almost that, right? You can have a meter in your company which says how much compute power do I require. There's a meter. It will tell you end of the month how much is my bill. That's essentially, in a very simplified way, what the entire cloud thing is all about, right? And everything is moving into a much more agile mode, right? So this is a demand. But maybe I'll spend a minute on, and I know you guys can't see this, but there's there's a group within Cognizant. It is called the Future of Work Office, right? They do some very cool, cutting edge work about what the work will be, or the workforce will be maybe 5-10 years from now. And this is a simplistic depiction of what they've done. This is about a year and a half ago, still very relevant. They're talking between 2018 to 2028. What are the kind of jobs that might be generated? Okay, so here are some jobs which and this graph is very simple to read. On the y-axis, you have the tech centricity, how much technically intensive or heavy this job will be, and on the x-axis is more timeline, right? So if you see, all the green boxes are ones which are less technically centric and quite immediate. There are things like walker talker, yeah, there's a digital tailor, right? Fitness commitment counselor, right? Data detective, master of edge computing, right? AI assisted technician, medical technician, right? City cyber analyst. So these names make me also wonder sometimes, right? I mean, but it's happening, right? So what I want to leave you guys with is, don't get intimidated. This is all happening around us, right? This is all happening around us, but be aware that it's no longer a case of you learning, something well, or doing something what your cousins or friends are doing and trying to get. You have to be aware of what the opportunity is and find out what your skills are and focus on those, right? The fundamental thing that has changed for me from my personal experience is the focus is been on expertise. Now you can apply this logic in any field of the world, right? It could be sport, it could be industries like ours, it could be manufacturing, it could be anywhere. If you are an expert on something, you're always in demand. So even if you have a skill which I'm calling ancient here, right, like Java or .NET, but you're an expert at it, people will lap you away in any part of the world, right? So make sure you pick a topic which you think you are good at, focus on it, and go towards expertise. Not it's easier to say that everyone should be an expert, but your focus should be becoming good at something that you love to do. And if you love to do, and if your love happens to be IT industry, pick what you really like to do within that and go deeper, right? Because the generalist days are gone, right? Maybe I'll move to the next slide. And again, guys, we will have some time for questions. If it's getting, I'm hoping many of you guys are still awake. It's 28 minutes past. The ones on my screen still look awake, so that's good. So some of my impressions, right? I have already covered this, folks, to some extent, but just so that I kind of drive home the points, right? Again, as I said earlier, these are my perspectives. This is not a prescription. Each one is different. I get it. Okay? What made me successful when I started will not necessarily make you guys successful. That's reality, right? So what got me inside the door may get you inside the door, but are you going to be successful? Maybe, may not be, right? So it's important to realize that the world is very different in many ways. It's very similar in many ways. Yeah, the industrial learning patterns of the past, they are gone. I think you might find it here and there in pockets, but largely speaking, you will not see, at least I'm not seeing when I'm doing business with my clients, right? I'm not seeing requirements of, hey, Cognizant, I need 200 Java people, how soon can you get it, right? You'll get it once in a year maybe, but we also start looking at the clients and start laughing, say, which world is he living in, right? So the conversation has changed. It is more about specialization. It's more about, earlier we had maybe 5-7 years, cycles of change. It's now becoming every year, every 2 years, things are changing very quickly. So a lot of people like me, I think the challenge is to have the ability to unlearn what you have learned so many years, right? I cannot sit and say, yaar, hamare zamane mein to aise hota tha, hum aise hi kaam karenge. People will get a check and say, bhai sahab, aap chale jao, you guys, thank you very much, right? So it's also about unlearning for folks like me. Even for people like you, if you come back with some baggage about, hey, this is how I think this job is going to be, you will have to quickly unlearn. I think the biggest key that you guys will have to figure out is how do you pick up new traits quickly, and how can you unlearn some of the bad habits that you probably have, right? I think the key thing is, and again, it's easier to say, I mean, you guys are this startup generation, right? A lot of people I see are, at least maybe I'm wrong, but a lot of people I see are extremely tech savvy. They think that beginning and end of this world is creating a startup kar dete hain, fir dekhte hain, right? So people come with very misconstrued, norms of how this world is. So my view is, not every one of you needs to start a startup. I mean, it's great if you do, good luck. But not everyone will, and it's not necessary, right? However, even in setups like ours, it could be Cognizant, it could be any other firm, if you guys have a tendency of finding business problems to solve, right? And I think even with COVID now, it's become even more important, right? World has really changed. People are talking about doing programs in the next 1-2 years, which they were planning in the next 5 years because of COVID, right? So the point is, start finding the business problems that you need to solve. Technology will help you do it. It'll become a tool, right? It's become that mainstream, right? So that's an important area for you guys to realize. So don't get caught up with jargon. Yeah, somebody's learning machine learning, AI. I think that person is really cool. Maybe he is, maybe he's not, right? Depends on where they apply that, on what solution are they trying to do. It's very, very important. Yeah, I think it's important. Let my screen go. Yeah, okay. Yeah. So I think it's important, guys and girls, everyone, right? And I'm not saying it because it sounds good. I said I genuinely believe it, right? It took me a while to also kind of acknowledge that what am I good at, okay, and what is it that I should focus on, right? A quick example is 2002 on my first trip to London, right? I went. The client was Morgan Stanley. We were in this plush, nice office in London. I went there. I knew I'm not the best coder. I can tell you now very honestly, right? I initially joined the IT industry thinking that I have to be the best coder that I can possibly be, right? I wasn't. In fact, I tried. I don't think I was, right? I was doing something called production support, which essentially means there were 3 trading applications. If something goes wrong in those applications in production, just like some applications fail or you call customer service, right? They would call us for technical support. I had a bunch of people. I was leading a small team. They were really good in doing the technical work, etc. But I realized I tried my hand at doing a lot of these coding, scripting, writing database scripts, all of that. I wasn't good at it, right? What I learned, however, is the day the platform broke, right, or the day a really high priority ticket was done, business, and I'm talking about multiple millions of dollars in one transaction, okay? Multiple million, one trade has failed, it means some 20, 30, 40, $100 million trade is stuck, right? What I've realized is in that stint in London, I realized that, hey, look, there might be a lot of people with technical ability who can solve the technical problem, but the strength I have is communication or articulation. So when systems break, how do you communicate that to various people in the organization? How do you provide timely updates to people? How do you give quick statuses on when the issue can be resolved? What was the root cause, right? That is all articulation. There was no technology. The data was being supplied to me. I was the person with a mic in hand, almost talking to the whole world, including IT, business, and everyone, to give. So I realized problem and situation management is equally important skill, if not more important than actually technical skills, right? So each one of you have to look inside yourself. Think about what you were good at in school, right? What did your teachers tell you that you're good at? Think about feedback that you get from your friends. Some people are the life of a party, right? Take all of this, right, and apply it on top of this context that I've said. So it's very important so that you focus on your strength and build that strength much harder. In an IT context, you might say, hey, I'm extremely analytical. Maybe I should go into a field where I look at data patterns, right? Go deep into it. And there is enough resources within companies like us. There is enough resources online. There is enough resources for you on the open internet to study and get better at it, right? That's very important. Identify your weaknesses also, right? It's very, very important. Very important to identify your weaknesses. It's completely okay to say I don't know, right? So if you are going into a job interview, right, if you are worried that if I say, hey, if they ask me a question, feel very confident that you are getting the job interview one, because somebody thinks there's something good about you, so they've called you, right? So talk about your strengths, at the same time be very, very open about your weaknesses, right? Saying, hey, look, I'm not good at this, however I have acknowledged it myself and I'm going to do something about it, and work on that. So as much as you focus and polish your strengths, identify your weaknesses, don't be shy of them, work on them, admit it in public, so that I think it becomes very, very open cycle for you to kind of learn. Yeah, it's a very potent combination. Once you get into this framework or this mindset, the world will seem definitely better, right? Because fundamentally, each one of you guys who are listening, girls who are here, you are doing something that whatever you're doing here because you're good at something, right? You are in good engineering colleges. You are, you have this opportunity of speaking to a bunch of people. You've got this exposure. You've come with good schooling. There must be something good about you, right? There are a lot of people who are not doing what you're doing. So it's important to back yourself up at all times. Realize that you are doing something good and always keep working. That's very, very important, folks. Yeah. And this will get more and more important as days go by, right? As I just said, it's not only technical skills. Yeah, just remember, when you're coming into IT, yes, when you're coming in at entry level, there will be an expectation of certain technical expertise. I grant you that. But even in that, you can, bifurcate. You can come in as an expert on, coding. You can come in as a testing expert. People who are curious, who love to find faults. You have a great career in testing and quality assurance and all of that, right? If you are great in finding patterns, data may be your choice, right? If you are able to get a bunch of teams together, articulate, you can look at being an agile or a scrum master or a project manager kind of things, right, as you go along, right? But be open. If you enter the IT industry thinking that, hey, मेरे को सिर्फ कोडिंग करने का है और मैं यही मेरा ये होगा, I think you are going to miss out on a larger opportunity. So the sooner you get that perspective, the better. And going to kind of a summary, right? And I've been speaking for a long time. Hopefully it's not been really, really boring. But here is my impressions, right? And I've said it very, very, very consciously. I think it's easy to find and train technical talent. What it is not easy are to find are these people, right? People with very sharp analytical minds, right? As I said, I think I've made this point. People who understand business domains, right? So if you're coming into an IT industry or let's say you come into my teams, right? The focus should be, okay, I'm trying to write this code, or I'm trying to test this code, or I'm trying to do something. What business is this part of, right? Where is it impacting, right? So the example that I tell my teams typically is, I don't know how many people of you play jigsaw puzzles, right? If you guys play jigsaw puzzles, it's very important to know which part of the jigsaw are you and what is the big picture, right? So I think my recommendation would be, even in whatever you guys are doing now, think about the slightly bigger picture. Think that where does your work fit in the whole thing, right? Because when you are articulating that, or when you're telling somebody that, it's very important. If you say, "नहीं यार, मैं इस module में ये इस part का इसका code लिखती हूँ," I don't think people will get too much of that. Okay, that's fine. But if you say, "Hey, I work for, let's say, Morgan Stanley," again for that example, right? I work in the trading application. This trading application does, about 2,000 trades per second, about $2 or $3 billion of trades every day, right? One of the key applications is this. I am a test analyst for that. So if I don't do my work properly, these are the kind of risks that the firm is taking. So that also gives you a sense of the impact you guys have. So it's very, very important, right? As I said, the key thing for me, if you ask me one, and this is what I tell my management teams, okay? So I am 23 years in the industry. I have a fairly senior management team, all of them who've been probably in the industry for 15, 20 years, right? If I have to tell them one thing, right, of what they should learn, I would say storytelling, right? Because storytelling is an ability, is extremely important. Even if we are selling anything, right? Look at yourself in your personal lives. Each one of you might be telling stories to your families, to your colleagues, to your friends, in your professors, whatever, right? To me, it's an invaluable skill. Some of the good leaders and great leaders, right? I feel the big differentiation in most of them. There might be an odd exception here and there, but the most important leaders, or the most effective leaders, in my personal opinion, are people who are good storytellers. So look at this skill very closely. If you don't have it, fine, but work on it, right? It's very, very important on how you weave a story. How do you attract somebody towards your point of view? How do you sell something which is commodity, right? Today, Cognizant, TCS, Infosys, Accenture, one may argue, are doing the same thing, right? It is the art of storytelling that I can maybe try and impress upon you that, hey, look, it's a better place to work here. It might, essentially, your work might be quite similar, right? To be respectful to all organizations. But I think the storytellers are able to, attract the talent, get your attention, and get you to focus where it is, right? So I think it's very, very important skill in my mind, right? Being adaptable it's how do I say, it's a no-brainer. I think we need to be. And the book that I recommended at the start of the conversation, right, this book called Sapiens, if you guys have time, please do read it. There is another very, very important book. I was really, really impressed by it, right? It's, again, take a stab at it. I think it gives you, it is called 21 Lessons for the 21st Century, right? Make a note of it if you want, right? Same author. It's by Yuval Noah Harari. It gives you a very fantastic perspective of what the life could be 50 years from now, right? 50 years from now, you guys will definitely be around. I don't know about myself, but it will definitely give you a sense of what the world could be. And even if that scenario is not painted, you will get a realistic sense how much change will come. And it is quite honestly jaw-dropping. So conversations like this, you'll 20 years from now, you look back and laugh. Oh my God, this is how we used to have conversations, right? So try and read a book. And that one thing that it says that the next generation has to be very, very adaptable. They have to learn to pick up a new skill every year and unlearn that next year. Potentially, maybe your kids, right? They will see that real thing about how do you have to learn new skills very quickly, unlearn things very quickly as well, right? Because the world is going to be very, very different. The last point I want to make is, again, we are living in global worlds now, and even post COVID, it's becoming much more closer, right? I have team calls with people. My teams ourselves are right now spread in Singapore, Hong Kong. Some of them are in China, very few in Japan, Switzerland, UK, US, Pune, and Hyderabad, right? This is my team, right? Just my teams are split. So this is a good representative set. There are teams all around now. Earlier, there would be teams of, hey, look, Cognizant is doing a particular project. All of the teams are all Cognizant. I think we are moving to a world where it could be multiple vendors, multiple teams, different parts of the world, right? So be adaptable. As Indians, I think we all, I would say, right, generally, as we need to work on our cross-cultural sensitivities about how various cultures operate. What is it to work in Europe, what it is work in Japan or China, what is it to work in the US, what's in the US, UK, whatever, right? Germany, Switzerland. Every culture is different, and every place where they talk and where they what they mean when they say certain things is very different. So I think you guys, as you start off, should remember that when you come into the global world, it's very important, right? You will hear a lot of things about diversity. Diversity is not only about having more female employees in our mix, right? Diversity really begins with diversity of thought, diversity of obviously gender orientation, but more importantly is of cultures, right? So I think it's very important, as you guys step into start working in global teams, be very, very clear about that. This world is going to expect you to have that mindset where you are a global player as opposed to a great person from an Indian IT company, right? I think that's very important. I've spoken for about 40 minutes now. I am there at the end. Happy to take some questions. But I think, as I said at the start, right, I will be very excited to hear about your feedback. There's only so much one can talk in an hour. If there is any specific feedback that you have, please send it to me on my Gmail. And as I said it here, right, if you liked what I've said, I've tried, I've also prepared, and this also has been a learning for me because I've always talked about doing it, not did it. If you liked it, let me know. But more importantly, if you did not like it, I still want to know, right? Because I want to learn from it. So it's equally important. Please do give me feedback. That's one thing that I think you yourself should encourage everyone that you're speaking to, learning from, is get candid feedback. Yeah, it may be good, it may not be good, but it'll help you. Yeah. So on that note, I will take a pause. If there are specific questions, I'll happy to take. We have about 17 minutes. Just get some thoughts in.
So learning is always something bringing a change in oneself. Can I please, Shreya? You want to say something, Shreya, after me?
Okay, so
yeah,
I just wanted to say a big thank you to you, because after hearing you, my mind was cleared a lot, and I got a little more focused on what I should do. So yeah.
Nice. I'm glad I could do it.
Great. So learning is all about bringing a change, and change is something we don't accept because we find that we are what is the need of it. So it's about pushing ourselves and just always look back to be the monkeys on the trees and not adapting and changing ourselves. But the way you have brought learning and the excitement, and it is quite an interesting thing the way you brought in, and it was linked with the future and the possibilities of opportunities associated with learning, from the evolution of mankind, agriculture, business, to digitalization of the present scenario, and to all possible aspects, including the job and the future type of jobs which will be coming soon. It would definitely be a show which lot of students will come back and watch and again take something back with them. So I don't think this is a show, this is a talk which you can take everything at one go. Every time you go back here to Chetan sir's this beautiful presentation, you'll take out something for yourself which may fit in for you presently or maybe also in future. So thank you so much, Chetan. I am I really like your storytelling style, and will try to copy and impress people around me also. So open for questions. Yes, our co-panelists, the students, if you have few questions, we'll take it rapidly. We are getting a lot of good comments about the wonderful session and all. We'll keep taking comments, and yes, who wants to start?
Okay. So, sir, to stay relevant in the IT industry, the first three questions that comes to is what should we start doing and what should we stop doing and what should we continue doing?
See, it's a good question. What you should stop with immediate effect is uh, getting worried about doing something because some others are doing it. Yeah, you should stop doing that immediately, right? Because there's this been mindset of सब लोग जाके चलो यार कुछ मशीन लर्निंग का कोर्स कर लेते हैं, ये कर लेते हैं, मैंने सुना है कि ये करने से ये जॉब मिलेगा. Stop that, right? I think first and foremost, I think you should stop that. And there is so much of jargon around the world right now, right? माइक्रो सर्विसेज चल रहा है बॉस, Amazon वेब सर्विस में ये करने का है, Azure में क्लाउड में मूव रहा है मेरा डेटा, ये वो. Honestly speaking, don't get overwhelmed by the jargon, right? And I feel this quite sadly. मैं भी जब कॉलेज में था, right, जमशेदपुर में, एट द फाइनल ईयर आई वाज लाइक द बॉस, राइट. मतलब लोग मेरे को देख के डरते थे, थर्ड बटन देख के चलते थे, राइट. वहां से लेके वी बिकम लाइक कीड़ाज इन कॉलेज, इन अ कॉर्पोरेट लाइफ, राइट. तुम लोग आते हो तो पीपल विल स्टार्ट, अरे एक और बैच आ गया पीएटी का, आ जाओ. सो इट इज लाइक यू कमिंग टू फर्स्ट ईयर इन इंजीनियरिंग कॉलेजेस, राइट. So all I'm saying is come with an open mind, right? Come with an absolutely open mind. Cognizant will do, if we are lucky enough to have you guys in Cognizant, we will do our diligence on figuring out what your core strengths are. But stop, as I said, doing all of it. Focus on what your key strengths are, as I said, right? In your introductions, be very proud about what you've done so far until Cognizant, or hopefully it's Cognizant, right? Say, this is what I do, this is what I'm good at, this is what I can do. And then I think let the company also shape you a little bit, because there are people, there are leaders who can do a lot of stuff. अगर आप ही को आके सब कुछ करना है, then फायदा क्या हम जैसे लोगों का, right? So you come with an open mind, be prepared to get, open with experiences, understand at a high level where the world is moving, right, in terms of technology. Be aware, read up a lot. I would read a lot of podcasts. I would read a lot of, I do it myself. Okay, my ऐसे सिर्फ ज्ञान नहीं बांट रहा हूँ. I read on my way to office. I read a lot of, I listen to a lot of podcasts. I listen to books. There's a thing called audible.com, 199 rupees a month. You can listen to endless amount of books you want, right? So be open to that. So keep your mind open, because I feel mind is like a sponge, right? मेरा स्पंज में भर चुका है, मतलब there's lot of content already. If I निचोड़ के निकाल दिया तो भी, it's not, you can't refill it very easy. You guys don't have that advantage, so don't fill it with clutter, don't fill it with crap right now. Just come with an open mind.
Right, sir. Thank you so much.
So, sir, moving with your words that you said, if you are good at one thing, you are expert at one thing, you are in
Yeah.
demand. So here we have one question: how to explore your type of field and do one learn to stay focused on something for a longer period of time?
See, that you will get through experience. See, there's no such thing. You will know certain personality traits as you're growing up now, right? So you are doing your engineering now. There are certain subjects you might like. There are certain things you might like, right? Even if you forget engineering, even if you take cuisine, food, right? You eat food every day. How do you figure that, hey, this is my favorite dish, right? It's not because the first time you tried it, you said, hey, this is my favorite dish, and that's it. I'm going to stop eating, right? You arrived at that conclusion based on tasting multiple things, right? So give yourselves time. I think as you come into the industry now, right, it will take you at least 1 or 2 years to figure out, okay, am I cut out for this industry? If industry, then you will get a much better sense, right? No matter how hard we try sitting here and you're in your college, it's going to be tough. But I would say try a few things, right? Understand your personality traits. You will know, hey, fundamentally, I'm really good in some subjects. Let's say you're doing, right? If you're good in a certain area, explore that. If it could be anything, right? If you, I was a mechanical engineer, right, who studied internal combustion engine, and in the first year of in TCS, I did some testing for some National Bank of Greece, right? ग्रीस में कोई बैंक था, उसका टेस्टिंग कर रहा हूँ मैं, इंटरनल कंबशन इंजन पढ़ के आया. So I learned through the process, right? And as I said, वो project हो गया, I finished something else, and I realized, hey, my core strength is not coding. My core strength is communicating and situation management. I went into support. So I would say try a few things. If there are already things that you feel you are good at, put that forward on the table. So if you're coming, let's say joining Cognizant, say that, hey, I think I'm good at these things, right? We can evaluate you and then figure out. But it will be a slightly longer process, right?
Okay, thank you, sir.
Sir, first of all, I would like to say the way you explained about the time many years back to the present scenario was really great. So, with this, I have one question that do you think that making connection helps the people to explore for a new job? Connection with people like
Connections means just
uh,
network.
no, network with the people presently in the company or interacting with the people.
Well, if the see, any connection or interaction has to be two-way, right? I mean, I'm being quite honest about it. Like any relationship in life that you have, it cannot be a one-way relationship. मैं connection बना लूंगी, फिर मेरा job अच्छा हो नहीं, ऐसा होगा नहीं, right? What it has to be two-way. So if let's say you and I get connected on LinkedIn or whatever platform, right? As you are coming to the channel, I need to know what you bring to the table as well. I know what I can bring to the table. I know what I could do, but it has to be two-way. So my recommendation to you is be aware. It's great to connect with people, but you should also, it has to be two-way, right? The person you're connecting to also should know why you're making that connection, and what is it that you bring to the table, as opposed to, sir, आप बड़े company में बड़े post पे हो, let me connect. वो नहीं है, वो दिन चले गए, right? So you should be able to relate to people both ways. I should be able to relate to you, saying that, hey, I'm coming off from this course in, let's say, the next 6 months. This is what I've done. Then I say, okay, maybe I have a certain position opening in a certain area, right? But that way, it's important to network. But just be important. Just remember, it's two-way, right?
As you said that the diversity is really important in any company, so in that term, if we want to interact with the meeting of many people with different countries, so in that way I was saying.
Yeah, of course. I mean, that way is, and it's easier said
Also,
than done. It's a soft skill. You can do it. You just need to find that opportunity and the platform, right? So it is definitely a great thing, and it is something that even I have learned, and even I continue to learn every time, right? I had a thing growing up in school, college. I'm reasonably good with languages. Okay, so my mother tongue is Konkani because I'm from Goa. Marathi is a very similar language. I can get it. I have some read-only access because of my college days for Tamil, Kannada, a little bit of Bengali. So I get all of these languages a little bit, but I actively work on this. So to your question, if you think you are a natural at it, you will be doing it anyway. You don't need me to tell you that, right? But when you come into a corporate session, you should always know. It's always great to network and within the company also know each other. But wo bhi wahi hai, right? Some people will say, "Hey, I'll give you chal baat karte hain." But if there is no meaning to it, if it's not two-way, even in the company, it will then they'll say, "अच्छा ठीक है, time नहीं है, मेरे को meeting में जाना है." Yeah, right? So it has to be two-way, just for it to be sustainable. You can always make connections and have fun. That's a different matter, right?
okay, so sir, one more question: is it important to have know dozens of technology as a student, or should we focus on anyone?
It depends, right? There's no correct answer to this question, right? However, according to me, there's no point in learning thousands of technologies without knowing where you're going to actually employ them, right? What problem are you going to solve, right? To my earlier point as well, as you're starting to look at jobs, right? If you start taking a bigger picture view on this, what is this doing, right? Then you'll start asking the right kind of questions. So the right kind of questions I would focus is, what are the kind of problems that we need to attempt to solve, right? And to solve those problems, what are the most appropriate technologies, right? So the context could be very, very different. So for example, if you're a car manufacturer, your problem statements could be completely different compared to let's say a bank, right? If you go to a car manufacturer today, they are worried that the traditional cars as we know it with engines and all that will go away, right? 5 years, the moment the battery technology, right now the batteries that we have in our cell phones, the batteries that are there in these cars like Tesla, the reason why there are not many electric vehicles is because that technology has not yet become scale, right? Abhi wo 400 miles, 500 miles tak chalta hai, right? The moment the battery technology goes into that 1,000 mile this, the car industry, as you know it today, will go away with industrial engines and such. Right? So that's the problem they're trying to figure out. Right? The car, if you see, a lot of cars are now becoming hybrid. A lot of cars are becoming all electric, but all electric cars are very, very expensive. Right? So we are going through this journey. I think to your question, figure out. I know it's more difficult, and I think I can say this easily because of a little bit of more experience that I have. But if you start having that mindset that, hey, I need to look at the problem domain and then see what technologies can solve. Right? So use technology as a tool, like a screwdriver, right? A tool can be used to do the work it is designed to do, right? You cannot take a tool, a screwdriver, you can't roam around the room and say, "Abhi kya kolu," right? That's how I would use technology.
So, sir, one more question in the chain. Students don't know the office culture, like how actually any company works. So, what are the major points that we should remember before getting in a
It's very
company?
boring. No. So why do you want to know what it is like? You guys should enjoy what you guys are doing now. And my only thing is, look, I mean, it is not college, right? It is not college, although the first couple of months, even I have done it, or maybe I have done it for more than 2 months, right? मुझे लगता था कि बॉस कितना अच्छा है, वी आर स्टिल द सेम एज, यू गो इन, यू गेटिंग सम सैलरी, चाय पीने को मिलता है, कैंटीन में एसी है, यू स्पेंड द फर्स्ट 6 months शोइंग पीपल, देखो मेरा कैंटीन ऐसा है, तुम्हारे में जिम है क्या, एंड ऑल ऑफ दैट. After those 4-6 months, I think the key thing is to figure out what you do, right? What you're good at. So find a good mentor. Once you get into the company, once the initial wow days are over, everyone will go through it. We are all human beings, right? I would think surround yourself with good mentors, at least one or two, who can give you a broader picture about our organization. And that's pretty much it, right? I mean, for me, and then you can learn from the culture around you. I don't think there's any need for you to be prepared, and there is no judgment that is being waiting to be made. Ki, hey, Shika is going to come, usko pehle din mein hi report card dena hai kya, kaisi ladki hai kya hai. Aisa, there's no rule like that. So you come in whichever way, and then learn from people around you. Yeah, so take it easy. Don't see, most of you guys, I think, need to chill a little bit, right? As you come in. So number one, remember.
That's such a soothing answers you just give, and it just promotes us, just to give a spark in us to work on our good things
Yes,
and
it is.
just
We are all
move
human
on
beings. Remember
and
that, right?
go.
One of my when I was living in Canada, right?
Yes,
I
sir.
was one of my. I think he was a colleague of mine. I used to get tens before very senior CIO meetings. These are like multi-million-dollar deals we are talking about, right? He gave me one thing. He said, Chetan, just remember, no matter how big the man is or how big the CIO, how important the person is, he wears his trousers one leg at a time, right? He cannot jump into them, right? So you're also coming, you're also an engineer, you're studying or whatever degree you guys have got, right? So there's no point in being intimidated. Just come in, remember that you're good at something, but you should also come in that you're coming into an atmosphere where you can learn a lot or you can go down the wrong road. So it's up to you, right? Just like when you came to college, you could have decided ki boss kis group mein align hone ka, right? So don't be too pressurized. Just remember you guys are good and coming into a good firm. That's it. Rest will take care.
Thank you, sir.
So, a quick comment on this question. What other qualifications other than coding can we really develop in this pandemic which might help shaping our career?
Coding, huh? See, as I said, I think I briefly covered it, right? So focus on the non-technical aspects, as we call it, the soft skills. Yeah, I would focus on the art of
Right.
storytelling. I would focus on, because they are calling data. I personally believe data, as they say, is the new fuel, right? Just like oil was traded in by the Arabs in the 80s, 90s, 2000s. I think data is going to become that oil for us next year, right? So be curious about those aspects. How does data become information? How does information become insight? How does insight become wisdom, right? So there are a lot of books, and there are thousands of. You guys have an advantage of having so much access to so much of content, right? So yeah, I think I would rate storytelling quite high. I would look at studies around data. I would read up about just stories. I mean, you read up about good books about firms, right? Company success stories. Who there's a book called Elephants Can't Dance, right? About the story of IBM. Read up a lot of this, so you'll get a lot of perspective of how large companies operate. What are the things, right? So I would rather use it. I would not worry about learning another new technology. As I said, it's a tool. You can learn a technology provided you know where you're going to employ it.
Right, sir. Thank you.
Great. I know we are at the top of the hour, sir, so we are 3 o'clock. So
Shubhi, you have something?
Sir, I have just one question.
We are almost running on time, so have a quick
Sir,
questions.
what do you think after this pandemic? What are the sectors that will boom in the market?
wow. I have thought about it. Funnily enough, we've spoken at home also about it. See, it's actually this pandemic we have not seen in our lifetime, and I pray to God we will not see in our lifetime as well. Right? It's a once in 100 year, 200 year thing, right? But if I have to go by whatever I've seen in the financial crisis 2007-8, right? It is a cyclical thing. It's natural that when certain industries go down, for example, the banking industry was under severe stress in 2007-8, right? And again, if you equate it to simple human things, बंदा ठीक नहीं चल रहा है तो health खराब होगा, right? Simple. If you are stressed out, you're likely to go visit a doctor. So what has happened is when the economy is under stress, sectors like healthcare and life sciences, like these pharmacies, have done really well historically, right? Even now, if you see the amount of lines at pharmacies and people having vitamins and Dabur Amla and honey has increased tremendously, right? The supply chain, things like Amazon, Jeff Bezos, his net worth has increased by 40 billion into this pandemic, right? Some of it is sustainable, some of it is not. So my view is the banking sector will return because a lot of people now, because of the pandemic, are not spending. So when the situation becomes normal, the spending will increase, especially cards and other home buying, etc. Mortgages will increase. Life sciences, which is on a high now, people will not be that sick and not stressed. Hopefully, it will come down a little bit. But the industries like retail and hospitality, where you have retail outlets, hotels, restaurants, all of that as well will start getting back to normal. But they will need a lot of technology innovation, right? Our hotel stays are not going to be like the way it used to be earlier. So if there are solutions that need to be employed, now is the time. So if you guys have ideas of how you can make travel more safer, how you can make stay more safer, how can you make eating out more safer, I think those industries will have a big opportunity.
One thing I can tell is definitely the business of saloons.
No, I had seen a YouTube talk many months ago, right? Which means, again, this is tied to that future of jobs. They say humans at the end of maybe 50 years, where everything technology can do, there are some jobs which they will still not allow technology to do. And there were two jobs which I remember saloons reminded. One is daycare, right? Human beings will never want a robot to take care of their babies. So no matter how much we get, daycare kind of jobs, if you guys are thinking, will never go out of fashion. Second is haircutting salons. So that is a very personal thing. And the third one, there was a third one of performance arts, right? So humans will get more automated and all of that, but there will still be a corner in the heart which will want to see live performances, people playing things like dances, music, right? That also will never go out of fashion. So if you guys want to change your mind and become a dancer or a sitar player, I don't think it's a bad idea if you guys are good at it.
Yeah, it's like seeing you live is something better than having a recorded of or anything. So that adds value.
I agree to it. I mean, one of the greatest pleasures, again, part of my job, right, is I used to listen to I still listen to a lot of music. And there was a time where I used to wear tone jeans and earrings in the ear, rock music, right? They say that one of the best pleasures was hearing your favorite band live, right? So I agree with you 100%. So I've gone through it. I used to listen to a lot of Eagles. I've heard them live. I used to listen to a lot of Pink Floyd. I heard them live in Canada. So there is no better pleasure if you're a music lover to listen to your favorite band live. So another tip for you as you go along. So
a lot of viewers are taking those aspirations of you uh, having interest in geography, touching the different parts of the world, having an interest in music band and watching them and hearing them live. So probably this is something you were learning every time in your life, and you are taking the learning to unlearn and relearn. So the basic gyan of or the basic knowledge or the basic wisdom we want to put it to the generation is to learn and to live what you want to do, and things and the universe will conspire you to and will take you there to experience it.
You've come with a
Yes,
purpose. Be comfortable in your own skin and take life as it comes, man. Don't take it too seriously. We all will go. There will be
yes.
this, but life will go on. It's going to be fun.
Great. So we are getting a lot of comments about the sessions, and people are admiring you. There have been a request of you coming back and giving them more motivation. And I don't. And your storytelling line was very successful. And if it's a new creative thing which you brought in your, as you said, it is the first time you come up with this storyline and creating something for the young students. Like it was just a talk with Chetan, and we had a small conversation on doing something for students, and it was his idea to let me not talk about banking, finance, technology, business. Let me talk on the basic idea, or let me share my success mantra. And beautifully engagement. एक घंटा बीत गया, we could not even come to know about it. And
Nice.
we'll definitely post pandemic, we'll definitely look forward for you to come to Bhopal. And maybe in any colleges you go, there would be a lot of students coming and saying, yes, I heard your session on YouTube and Facebook. So that is the power of digitalization. So any final comments, girls, and then we take with Chetan sir. Any final comments you want to make?
Thank you so much, Chetan sir, for enlightening and
Sir,
inspiring us. I've gained a lot from you today. It was really a motivational session. Thank you so much.
Nice. I'm glad. Good luck, Shubi.
Shreya.
sir, I got to say, uh, up till now, I just thought of doing one language and just going through with it. But after hearing you, it feels like I have more talents that I can work on, that I can pursue, and then just blend the ones with IT sector. So thank you so much for molding my knowledge and molding my thinking like that.
Yeah, I'm glad I could help. Be open to feedback, right? So there'll be some things that you will think you're good at, get feedback, get better. Things that you might not be so good, drop it, right? Go on.
Right, sir.
Be open to feedback. That's the only thing.
Shikha.
Sir, just excellent. I'm just reading the comments down. They are just so loving the sessions, loving it, and so thank you so much, sir, for this soothing session. And just I'm in third year, so I just need some steps and some paths so that I can just
Cool.
accomplish my goal. And just
So
thank
much
you,
for
sir.
having
Thank you
me.
so
All the
much for
best.
this.
As I said, my email ID was there. I would love to hear if there's any not so good comment as well. Please, I'm very open, right? This is a learning for me as well. So I will try to get better next time. And please send me any kind of feedback, right? Good.
Yes, one comment which I can give not good is we could only have you online. We could not have you physically present. Otherwise,
Next time,
the
I am not.
aura would have increased. So
No,
we'll
I'll
try
not
to
have.
catch you in Pune, or you have bringing you to Bhopal sometime. So, and
Anytime.
the second thing is the time has a limit. So if the time could not be a limit, so the viewers could further enjoy the session.
No, I'm
So,
glad you like it. I enjoyed it
your
too.
final comments, Chetan, and how you liked, what was your experience and in Career Pathshala, and your final comments for students who are aspiring to make their future in any field, in whatever field they want to make, in IT, non-IT, or
Yeah.
maybe storytelling, or being an astronaut, anyone.
No, I think firstly, thank you everyone for having me, and it's been a great experience for me as well. So I've not done this. I do this sessions with my teams and in various groups internally at Cognizant, etc. But I've not done it on a platform like this. So thank you for giving me the opportunity. I think the only thing I will say, and I say it in all humility and without sounding too gyanbazi, right? That it is a great time to be around. I mean, there's a lot of people who are talking about doomsday scenario about IT. I honestly don't believe it. There is no reason to believe it. In fact, I think we are just getting started on a journey which nobody knows where it will go. The possibilities are endless, right? So if I were in your shoes as students, I would look at the what the future holds very excitedly. At the same time, realize that nothing. See, one thing is for sure, right? The grass always looks greener on the other side, and there is no, how do I say, there is no free lunch in this world, right? For everything in the world, you will have to work hard, right? there used to be always things of rich kids that I used to think कि उनको तो सब कुछ पैदाइशी मिल गया. There are very few of those people जिनको मिला है, जिनको मिला भी है, many of them waste it, right? So there is no free lunch. It's a great time to be around in the industry, great time to learn. And you guys, I think all I can do is wish you the very best. And I think let's enjoy the ride together. So you guys will have a much longer ride than me. I will probably drop off at a few stops ahead before you. But yeah, thank you so much for having me. All the very best. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you, Chetan, and the energy and the thoughts which you have brought will somewhere sow the seeds of aspiration, support, and confidence among all the students to do things, to believe in themselves, and to take their learning curve ahead, and take learning not as something as a force, but something which is a ride which they will enjoy throughout their life. So, but thanks for being here. We never thought you to be so much senior, and your humbleness and your being fitting into the frame. We just thought someone a real teacher of career Pathshala coming and giving some real guru gyan, and this will be a great inspiration for a lot of students to take it from here. Thank you so much for your time and your motivation for the students, and your contribution to definitely the industry, and a lot of youngsters who have worked under you definitely might be a reason that Cognizant is making such a great progress, and especially in BFSI. So thank you so much. And viewers, we go with the end of this show today. We have tomorrow Business 4.0 with two senior people from TCS coming and talking about what is Business 4.0. Do tune in at 11 a.m. sharp tomorrow. And with this, we come up with the end of first week of Career Pathshala, an amazing week. Do share your comments and give us feedback about what you want to take it forward. Yes, there is a continuous feedback of having Chetan sir again. We'll try to invite him in one of the panels based on his timings. And thank you, Shubhi, Shikha, and Shreya for being here, and for supporting Career Pathshala, and for the very valuable questions and inputs you brought in. Thank you again, Chetan sir.
Thank you, guys.
We thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Bye. All the best.